Hello, it's Brandy. Today we're going to be doing my winners of my 900 subscriber giveaway plus a story time. Hi, I wonder why. There's my chin. Hello. Anyway, so it has been a week and we'll get to that. But I said I was going to have the winners out on Wednesday and it's Saturday. So for the K Beauty boxes is Molasses Murphy. Hi, lovies. Hi, everybody. And Jen Picarillo. Molasses Murphy and Jen Picarillo for K Beauty. For the witchy boxes, it's Just Cards by Sarah and Maria S. And I will leave a comment with my email address underneath your comment on my post. So stay tuned for that. I'll do that. Hi, guys. Hi, everybody. I look like I got Bumblebee Fern, Dawn, Wiccan Love, Ashley Price, Lady Blind Wolf, Fluff Life, Gay Rose, Autumn Star. Wow, it's banging up in here. Hey, guys. Okay, so it's been a very long and trying couple of weeks. So where do I even begin? So, school. I am a full-time nurse for you guys that don't know. Hi, Joshua Knight. Hi, honey. It's so high to see you, or nice to see you. I'm a full-time nurse for those of you who don't know. So that is obviously a full-time job. And I do a lot of stuff in the organization as well. So it's more than my actual duty. So that's number one. Obviously, I'm a wife and a mom. And then there's also school. So this term, I'm in informatics for nursing, which is barely easy. It's just a lot of work, but it's easy work. Yay, congrats to the winner. But pharmacology is really hard. And it's really interesting because, oh, thank you. There's also the fish tank light. And the full moon is beautiful tonight. I am tired. It's been a long week. This is the end of my week. I just got off of my last shift for my work cycle. But anyway, so I have been dealing with that. So pharmacology is really hard. And herbal remedies in every chapter for pregnant women, for respiratory issues, for et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I will be coming back to that information in the future. Stay tuned. I don't want to memorize that information just right now because I still need to know the medical drugs to pass my test, but that information is coming back as well. So my son got sick. And when I say, oh, wonderful. Oh, that's really cool, Joshua. My son got sick. You guys may or may not know, but we went to China in November. We didn't get coronavirus. That's not what it is. But in order for us to not get sick, I was very cautious when we went to Asia. We got all of our vaccines, including flu shots. We took hand sanitizer. We took wipes. We were super clean. We had our own toilet paper. We had everything on us. None of us got sick. Everything was fine. I got sick after Christmas. If you guys remember, I was sick for 10 days. But my son ends up getting kind of feverish. Not this Saturday, but last Saturday. Not even last Saturday, not 2 weeks ago. He was really feverish and kind of like blah, which was fine. No big deal. He was sick. We just gave him Tylenol and Advil for children and let him rest and whatever. But 3 days into his sickness, he couldn't walk. He literally could not stand. He couldn't walk. He could not bear weight on his legs. And this is my 5-year-old child that was completely healthy just a few days ago. I'm a nurse, so I was like, okay, maybe it's muscle aches, maybe it's something potty. He would just sit and cry in front of the potty because he couldn't lift himself up onto the toilet. So it was like, oh God. So then I called for an appointment with the doctor. The doctor couldn't see us till the next day. She's our close friend. So I was okay waiting. And still the next day, he couldn't walk. So we ended up going to the hospital, not the hospital, to the doctors. I don't go to the hospital unless the literally limbs are missing or somebody is on fire. It has to be really bad. But they told us at the doctor's office that, number one, my son still got the flu, even though he was got the flu shot. But thankfully, he got influenza B, which is really, really dangerous for children 5 and under. It can kill them. But because he had the virus, his body was able to fight it off. That wasn't really what's making him sick. What was making him sick is that he was a very lucky child and got one of the few rare potential side effects of the flu, which is viromyositis, meaning that the virus gets into your muscles and it makes it incredibly painful to. The danger is with that is the virus will eventually eat your muscles and can cause kidney failure. So then we had to do a blood draw on a 5-year-old child. Hold him down. So it was not anybody's favorite day. And there was a lot of distress. But once we saw that his kidneys were okay, they were inflamed, but they were okay. We just had to push fluid, like adamant about fluids. My son had to drink half a water bottle every hour and just pushing fluids. He started walking again. And now he's perfectly fine. It was just a bizarre, terrible illness. So that was really stressful. And then I like to say it was because my son was sick, but it really wasn't that. It was just like this culmination of all this bad miasma of like bad feelings. Like I was in a sneaky hate spiral, if you know what that is. And then I got my first C in like, I don't know, probably since I was like in undergrad, not even in nursing school, before nursing school, many years before. Probably, I don't know. I got a C in computer class once because I wouldn't do the last project. Actually, I got an F because I wouldn't do the last project. So I got my first C on a quiz in pharmacology, and that really upset me. I know, Joshua. And so I know that sounds dumb, but like the thing with this is in grad school, if you get less than a B, you fail. Doubt. So then I'm just like, oh my God. Hi. I know, it was really scary. It was really scary. You do not expect your little child to stop walking. He's totally fine now. He's totally fine, but it was a rough time. And it wasn't like an affectation. He was not faking. It was legitimately, he could not dorsiflex or bear weight on his legs. Yeah. So the C, so then my teacher, I was like, hey, what did I get wrong? She's like, oh, I don't show anybody the results of the test. And so now I'm really freaking out because it's like, do I not know the content? Did I misread the thing? Or was I just so distracted I wasn't paying attention? Hi. Hello, Kathy. So I had to email her. She emailed me back. I was mostly distraction. Both questions that I got wrong, I had transposed 2 words. that was enough. But then I've just in a bad mood. I've been a funky, hard to be around little termagant witch. Not even a happy witch, like a wicked witch. Just irritable, grouchy, mean, short-tempered, petty, vindictive. I don't know. I was all about, I don't know. I've got the funk and I just can't, I couldn't, I feel better today. I couldn't get myself out of it. It was just like, it's like when you know that you should be happy and you have so much to be grateful for, but then it just makes you guilty for not being happy. So you're just like feeling even worse because you're like, I should be happy. I have so many blessings. I'm so well off. I have a loving husband. I have a beautiful home. I have a beautiful son. I have all these things and a good job and all this other stuff, but I feel like shit and I hate everything. and then I feel guilty about it. So for those of you who are raised Catholic, you know that guilt and shame is like the name of the game. So that's where I've been, just like in this spiral of like resentment, irritability, bad feelings, just grouchy poo-poo, stinky britches over here. And I mean, it's going away. I don't know what it is. It's like just stuck to me. Yes. I love my job. I really love my job. I'm a nurse. I work with low-income people. I love my job. I absolutely love my job. I just like, I don't know. For whatever reason, for the last 2 weeks, I hate my life and my life is a prison and I want to run away and join the West. So I usually love this time of year. I don't know. I know I do need a vacation. We have a vacation plan in the summer. It's going away. But I think that, especially on my channel, where I'm usually really positive, I usually share so much. I'm doing unboxings, I'm showing all of my wonderful goodies, I'm sharing like my animals and all of these wonderful things that I have highlights, because I'm not the kind of person that shares the negative shit, because number one, it's nobody's business, and number two, when other people do that, unless you legitimately need me to give you support, comfort, I don't really like to share my personal negativity on social media, because I feel like, number one, I believe firmly in maleo, and I believe that putting that shit out there, some people actually wish you ill and they will amplify that energy. The reason is that I'm stupid and I make bad choices. That's really what it comes down to. I do need a forest escape, Joshua. We are going camping, but it's raining, so we did camping in the rain in the fall, and it was like, no more. But what I'm trying to say is, like, I want to share when things are not going well and when I don't, because that's life. You guys will all feel that way. Everybody feels that way. And one of the things that we do in all, not just in witchy communities, but especially in Latino communities and in just social media, we don't authentically share when shit is not great. And it's not that things are not great, it's that I haven't felt great for whatever reason. And it's getting better. But I just thought I would share that with you guys. I'm okay. It's okay. La Luna's moving into full, and then she's gonna wane away. And when she wanes, this is all gonna go. It's all gonna go. I've got a nice, pleasing bath planned to just wash all this away as she wanes. It'll go with her. But thank you, dear. I just thought I'd share that because, you know, I do this channel. I love it. I do it. It's my passion. It's something that I have to make time for in my busy life, and I make time for it because I love the community. I don't know any witches in real life. Very few, probably. I love the community. I love the camaraderie. I love sharing what I have and hearing what you have, but I haven't been watching videos. And even at one point in the last couple weeks, the thought of getting boxes didn't excite me at all. And it really made me think, like, am I just getting shit? Or am I getting shit because I genuinely love it and it makes me happy and I'm sharing this information with others? And so I really had to do some investigating. I'm happy to say I got 2 boxes today, and I got that feeling of joy that I always get. It's not the box, whatever it is. I don't know, but I feel it leaving. So as long as it's leaving, so I wanted to share a couple other things. So when I did the giveaway winners, I asked all of you guys to say, what did you like on my channel, and what kind of content you want to see. And so I made a list and I was going to talk about it. And then I'm still doing, I was just venting. About all the stuff that's happened. Oh, and the winners were, just in case somebody missed it, K Beauty, Molasses Murphy, and Jem Ficarillo. And which boxes were just cards by Sarah and Maria S. And I'll leave a comment on your guys' comment on the 900 subscriber giveaway. This is more of just a story time. I was talking about my son being sick. I was talking about my terrible mood, my C grade, really first world problems. I mean, except for your kid being sick and not being able to walk. That's a real world problem. That's everywhere. problem, but it's better now, so we're okay. We are blessed to live in a place with easily accessible medical care. So, let's see. So, here we go. People like witchy topics and spells. Yeah, I know. It really sucks. So, I like talking about witchy topics. I will continue talking about witchy topics. Spells, I'm going to try to incorporate them, but I am really superstitious, like I've said earlier. And I. Yes, Terry. Um, and I'm really superstitious, and one of the things that I believe is that for your magic to work, you have to be silent. So I don't share things that I actually do, but I can figure out a way to share things in theory, because there is, for the most part, a format to what I do, and I could probably share that. The question is time. We shall see. So I have a pen here I was writing with. It's gone. No, there it is. Okay, so I'm just jotting down ideas. What I do with the items and unboxings, what I do with the items is like the number one question. Hi, Daddy. Thank you. What I do with the items is the number one question, and just between the 13 of us, I use a lot of them, but they're all stacking up in my house. I have cupboards, cabinets, tabletops, boxes. Oh shit, it's everywhere. I have ideas about how to start using it up, but it's definitely building up. And the candles, I'm on point with candles, especially this time of year. I'm getting through candles. Incense, not so much. I like incense in the summer when I can have like the windows cracked a little open. I'm using incense right now. Some things, though, a lot of things that you get in the boxes. Hi, Mystical Moonflower. A lot of things that you get in the boxes, they're not not perishable, but usable. So they hang around and they build up, and I think I'm gonna find a way to pass them on to new homes, respectfully. But we'll see how it goes, because I don't actually. So like when I get something about Bridget, I don't worship Bridget. She's not one of my deities. Um, which, nothing against her. Obviously, there's lots of things. It's just like those kind of things. Like I don't honor Bridget enough to need a Bridget statue. So that's just an example. So what I do with items, that's definitely something I'm going to be addressing soon. Unboxings, they like, of course, I'm going to keep doing unboxings basically forever. A routine video, I don't know what that is. Somebody tell me what that is. Herbal medicine, I'm gonna bust that out. Definitely gonna happen, probably in the summer, because like I said, I'm in pharmacology right now, and when I talk about an herb, I tell you what I know about it anyways. So like I'm gonna be posting my witch's moon box, and they had beautiful items with different herbs on it. One of the herbs is actually a herb that we use in modern medicine right now, which is foxglove, and I talk about how we use it. So medically, we call it digoxin, and it'll kill you. It will kill you. So it's things like that I can share. I will share more in the summer when I take a semester off, a term off. But I don't want to confuse my head when I'm in pharmacology. Anything witchy, unboxings, astrology. I have been meaning to come back to astrology, and I will. I have all the knowledge. I just don't have any time. That's an unfair thing to say. I have the same amount of time as everybody else. I'm just maxing myself out with it to better our lives, but it's still a choice that I'm making. So unboxings and live Q&As. I would love to do more lives. I think people like lives. I don't know, guys. Witchy stuff. So tarot, I'm not super good at tarot, but when I eventually decide to do a deep dive, I will have you guys join me on the journey. I actually have a huge amount of tarot decks, and oracle decks, more oracle decks, because that's what I actually collect. Hi, I'm glad you like them. So tinctures, I don't actually make a whole lot of tinctures. Medicine, I do. I have a large interest in medicine, obviously, and we will come back to it. Correspondences, yes. Deck reviews, yes. I have a ton of those that I need to get through. Herbs, yes. And somebody wants to see my dogs. As I can, I will show you my dogs. They're just so noisy. Hi, Don. Um, hauls. I will do hauls. I just like I have been trying not to spend so badly and so much, because we have a big trip coming up, an expensive trip coming up, and we also want to get pregnant. And believe it or not, that's going to cost me like $10,000 out of pocket. So I've set up savings for that automatically from my paycheck. Hi Don, you're so sweet. Um, but so that's kind of like, oh, we're kind of feeling the squeeze because I'm trying to save the money in advance. Um, oh, Joshua, thank you. That is one of my ideas actually. Because I'm getting close to 10,000, and when you have 10,000, you get all these different things. And I'm trying to think of creative ways that I would use the community app. I mean, my vision is that once I have access to those things, I would have a section for like my really like my subscribers, certain subscribers. I don't know if I could do all of them, where I could be like, I really didn't like these items from this month. Do you guys want to trade or buy or whatever? I'm hopeful that I'll be able to have that kind of capability in the near future when I get over 1,000 subscribers. But we'll see. So let's see. Unboxings, herbals. I am coming back to herbs. I'm going to be sharing my garden this year. I said that last year too, but I didn't actually plant as many things as I thought. And the pumpkin patch was actually, each pumpkin was planted with an intention and it was a spell. So I didn't feel comfortable really sharing that online either. So that's one of my favorite magics, by the way. I can talk about that when we get to planting. One of my favorite magics is planting a plant with your intention, and as it grows, your intention comes to fruition, right? Um, those little, they got baths today, so when I came home, the whole house stank like wet butt. Okay, personal practice. Again, that's really personal to me, but I will try. My home and my animals. Yes, this room I'm going to do a little bit more with, more plants. Oh yes, plants. I love plants. So more plants, more decor and stuff that I can share. And hopefully that will come this fall. But there's so many things to do. My animals, yes, of course. And for those of you who want, I post most of those kind of pictures on Instagram. So you can follow me on Instagram and you'll see like the turkeys and the dogs and my husband and son occasionally. I try not to put my son because I do believe that children have the right to privacy, and so I'm not one of those moms that just blasts all his business on Instagram because I don't I mean, childhood is private. He shouldn't have all of that all over the internet before he's even old enough to drive. Um my learning goals, yes, I will share that. For right now, my learning goals are I'm trying to get through all of my almanacs, and I want to learn bone throwing. I want to circle back on astrology to teach what I learned, and I want to become more proficient with gardening. So those are my learning goals that I'm going to be working on this year. Exactly, Bumblebee. Some perverts. No. Um, what do I do with the items? Yes, I know. We're going to cover that. My practice, again, we talked about that. The outdoors, yes. I might take you guys camping with me. There's no internet where we go camping, so I will probably record it on the camera and then um, piece it together on my Adobe for a video. Um, let's see. Witchy stuff. unboxings, a 6-month rundown. That would be very interesting, especially boxes that I've been getting forever, like the Witch's Moon, the Witch's Roots, Sugar Muses, blah, 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 blah. 6-month rundown might be really interesting. I honestly think a year in review would be better, and I will try to incorporate that at the end of the year. Lives, which I'm going to try to do more often. Medicine, we've already talked about that. Astrology, unboxings, getting to know more about me. That's really, I'm pretty candid most of the time. You know, catastrophic, I don't think about teaching my son the craft. My husband and I just do things, and if he asks, I talk to him about it, but I'm kind of careful because I grew up with religion forced on me. It wasn't forced on me. Some of it was forced on me because I do like Jesus a lot. He's my favorite face of God. But I don't believe in any of the punishment and the vindictiveness and all of that crap. So that's the part I feel like was really forced on me. The judgment and the shame part, I don't want to force that on him. I want to be just open. Like, this is what I believe. This is what I do. Some people may think differently. This is what I do. This is why I'm doing it. And if you want to do it, you can do it too. If you don't want to, you can sit it out. But this is what we're doing. So that's that's the only way I would teach my son the craft. I mean, he already is a little magpie. He gathers stuff for me and brings me special rocks and acorns and pine cones and flowers and sticks. He does that already. He helped us plant some of our intention plants. We follow the moon. We go to meteor showers. I mean, we just live life. I don't know. I feel like some people have their religious practice, like ideas that they do once a week on Sunday at church. But the way that we live is that religion is everywhere, all the time, every day. So I just kind of incorporate it into our everyday lives. I'm definitely doing garden vlogs this season. Ooh, I can't wait to see Bumblebee Fern. I gotta make sure that I'm subscribed to you. So getting to know me, my stuff. Oh, my stuff collection. I really should share my stuff collection. It's kind of embarrassing how much stuff it is, but a lot of people have asked for that. Exactly, Angela. Those are good ways to start. And I think babies are really in tune with the unseen world all on their own. I think we crush it out of children. I think children are really in tune with spirit already. And we tell them that's not real, that's not the truth, you don't have imaginary friends, magic doesn't exist. We just don't tell him those kind of things. It does exist, and some people just don't believe. Herb storage and uses. This is actually something that I've been meaning to do because for Christmas, my husband got me shelves that he has painted, and we just haven't put them up yet. And I bought uniform jars to put into the shelves that my husband bought. I just haven't gotten to it. But I am good. That's coming up. Making stuff, nature and natural living. So making stuff, I don't make a lot of stuff. But I am going to be doing a video soon about how I repurpose stuff. So something I want to do, because every once in a while, even our community gets on their high horse and does some weird shit. But there was this big hubbub about, getting witchy boxes is not real witchcraft, whatever. I don't care. Whatever. Bye, Felicia. Don't watch my channel. But but I do want to express that, like, you can use every single thing that you get in the box and the tissue and the daily bobs. You can use all of that again. And how I would do that. So that's something that is coming up, not just how I use the items in each individual box, but how to use all the items so you're not wasting or making more waste. Because exactly, that's exactly true. Because, it seems like there is a lot of waste with witch boxes, but there really isn't. I don't throw anything away. I have all my boxes. I have all my paper. I have all the dilly balls. I keep all the bags. You can use the bags for mojo bags. Obviously the items are for your personal practice and use. There's occasionally plastic bags, but I use them as little trash bags. And yes, they probably go to the landfill. But for the most part, most of the things get recycled. Hi, over the moon. So that's something that's coming up too. Witchy education. I feel like everything I do, I try to do witchy education. I'm not an expert by any means, and I'm eclectic, so I won't really be able to tell you like my rules and my thoughts and my practices are not for everybody. They're just for me. But I think that what I try to do is give you like the bare bones framework so that you can build your own practice off of that. Um, Unboxings, animals, we'll be doing more animals. Side by sides, of course, I'm not going to stop that. Collections, I will show you guys my stuff as it gets closer. Tarot stuff, I'm not really good at the tarot, but I will be doing that. Learning about me. I guess I could do a live Q&A monthly and just have you guys, once I have a community tab, you can have questions that I can answer. Ritual work, I don't know how I would share that. We'll see how it goes. Altars, I will share my ancestor altar. That is something new in my life. I've had an ofrenda for probably the last 4 or 5 Halloweens or the seasons. I usually put it up all of October and through the middle of November. But this year, I was really called to ancestral work. If you go to the Witches Box, she did a whole like series on several different books about ancestry. I bought almost all of them, especially the one that I read cover to cover was Ancestral Medicine. It's really good. And I felt really called to do that work. So now we have a permanent ancestor altar. And I can share that. That is something that I would like to share. That's something that I would like to spread that practice because everybody, regardless of your belief, has ancestors that are helping you and fueling you and rooting for you and can help guide you. I know they were calling me out for ancestor work. And that's, I mean, it feels good. It feels right. So, of all the things that I've let slip because I haven't been journaling, I haven't been drawing cards, I haven't even been doing enough ritual bathing. And that's part of the problem, probably because I haven't been washing away all the spiritual grime from my job. But I have maintained the ofrenda. We have maintained it. It is clean. There's fresh water, there's fresh coffee, there's fresh pastries. The candles are fresh, there are flowers. It's clean. I have been maintaining it well. And I think that that's been really important. It's been something to anchor me, to anchor us. My husband helps me maintain it. It's in a corner though, because my son is not allowed to touch it because he is not trustworthy with the little delicate items on there. But it has been great. I really want to share that. But it needs time. And I would like to finish my research before I really start talking about it. I want to come from a more educated place. But I can show you it next time I'm in my room filming something. I'll try to film it. This is my front room, my guest room. Let's see. More indie boxes. I tried, I try boxes. I just like when probably the most indie box I do is Anita Apothecary. I don't think very many people know her, and I bought her recent book box, so that's going to be coming up soon. I can't wait. And she's going to have in March next month, she's doing the Magical Garden box, and I am so excited. So, garden and homestead, yes, I'm going to be sharing that. Divination, yes, I really want to get into my bone throwing. I love oracle cards. I love astrology. I have a lot of different forms because I get so many boxes. Oh, catastrophic. You don't have to do it too. My family was very toxic, abusive, addiction. It's not that. I would definitely recommend Ancestral Medicine. Hi Misty by Daniel Four. And he addresses that, and it's really, really important that you have safe boundaries and that you can set up an ancestral altar for only your beloved dead. Do you know what I'm saying? So there's categories of dead, and there's dead ancestors. True ancestors are your dead, your line. who has done the spiritual work to be whole spiritual ancestors, like a positive force. Hi, Lilipad. And then there's, your remembered dead that can be, they might have been spiritually well enough to be an ancestor, or they might be still working things out. And then there's, your recently deceased who are probably not through working it out and you really shouldn't work with. So there's all of that. He really goes through it, and he goes through how to safely and healthily really connect in ways that keep you safe, but also, especially for us people who have this toxic, abusive bullshit in our family lines, that we want to stop that family curse. We're not passing that on to our children. The buck stops here. It talks about how to heal that, how to stop that mess, how to not fall prey to all the crap that your ancestors fell prey to, and how to put that shit to a stop. And that's really my interest, because I see the same poison eating us up for generation and for generation and for generation. And it's not happening to my son. It's not going to happen. I won't let it. So he talks about connecting with your healthy, whole, helpful ancestors, and how they, with proper like worship and connection, not worship, but like reverence, and connection. It's called Ancestral Medicine by Daniel Four. It's amazing. And if you want to go to the Witch's Box, she does the Witch's Booktube. She did 6 different books on ancestral medicine, and a lot of them were really good. And she breaks it down, like what's good about them, what's bad about them. But they are on point. I bought 4 of them, I think, and they're really helpful. But basically, he breaks it down like how to start, how to connect, how to protect yourself. No pendulums right now, Kathy. So the way that I grew up, Latino doing pendulums, the most thing that we would do is like put a wedding ring on a chain and put it above a pregnant belly, and it would tell you if it was a boy or a girl. That's how I grew up with the pendulum. I have not really used a pendulum. I have so many of them, but I haven't used them for yes or no questions. If I have a question, I almost always ask my tarot. Oh, cute. I've never heard of the Wee Witches box, but I haven't done the Ink Goddess box either. I have heard of it. I just, like, right now, I'm not looking to expand my boxes, but I mean, I guess I'd be interested. There are boxes out there that will give you a free sample. I guess I could try to do some of that, but I just haven't really. I'm such a small channel at the moment. But anyways, the Ancestral Medicine book is really good. I highly recommend it. We don't have to keep doing this bullshit, guys. We can say no more. And that's where I am, and I'm really enjoying the work. I had a really, like, I dreamt of my grandmother. It was actually, my ancestral altar has been lit. So I actually had like a candle kind of shatter. And I've had very intense dreams where my dead have come to me. So it's been really good. Nothing scary or terrible, just like really interesting. So I got off track. I'm sorry. Witchy education, we talked about animals, side by sides collection, tarot stuff, learning about me, ritual work and altars, indie boxes, garden and homestead. Garden and homestead's going to be happening. Divination, bone throwing. So I really was super, super psyched about bone throwing, and so psyched that I started making my husband pick up roadkill and bury it in our yard so that I can have the bones. And after the third little animal, my husband's like, how about not right now? How about not? No? How about no? And I said, okay, so we're going to make a little kit for each car with trash bags and gloves and stuff like that, so it's not so hard for us to pick up roadkill for my bone collection. But that's how you know it's love. He crossed town in his truck to get a raccoon body out of the road for me and bring it back to our house so that I can have the raccoon parts for my witchcraft. So get yourself a good man who will do that for you. I know, catastrophic, and it's hard, and it won't be. So what I like about the getting rid of the bad family junk is it's not actually you. You are just calling on the assistance of your well ancestors to handle your not well ancestors. Kind of like when your cousin's kid is acting up and you're like, "Excuse me, come get your child." So it's really, really good. Check it out. Ancestral Medicine by Daniel Four. Book reviews. I have a ton. As I read them, I will be doing reviews. Bookshelf tour. I'm actually going to update that because every year I get a lot of books for Christmas. That's what I ask for. And I've got some really, really interesting ones there. Plus, I'm working my way through all my almanacs, and I want to work through that as well. How I use stuff. Okay. Deeper dive on books. Yes. My secrets. He is thoughtful. Yes, but it's not the right time of year for the beetles over the moon. It's really cold here and they don't like cold. They mostly live in the spring and the summer and into the fall. And so yes, I will do that when it comes time for it, but you need buckets and just like it's a lot of work to get your little bones. It's flesh, yeah, it is flesh. And I found out that I was breaking the law because here in Oregon, you're not allowed to get raccoon bodies because they're a fur animal. And technically, if you get them fresh enough, you can use them for fur. So it's illegal. Sorry, Oregon government. I didn't know that getting a dead raccoon out of the road was illegal. And I brought him home with me. So I'm a criminal. Sorry about that. It probably won't happen again. But just know the laws where you live. Funny note, when you get a raccoon body and you look up what can I do with a dead raccoon, there's a lot of, shall we say, hillbilly sites that come up with like 50 recipes for fresh raccoon meat and how to tell if your raccoon meat is fresh enough to eat. And it was a learning experience for sure. I don't think I'm ready for eating raccoon. But if the world comes to an end, I could definitely cook raccoon. Secrets. I don't want to tell any of you my secrets, but we'll get there. Bone throwing, yes. Rituals, what I do. I've addressed that. Herbs, green witch stuff, which I'm assuming means herbs and nature and maybe wildcrafting, which I do a little bit of and I can talk about. Witching for beginners. I could probably speak to that once or twice. Again, I think that that learning your path is really intimate and that I wouldn't be super helpful with how you would learn, but maybe I could talk about how I learned. Unboxing stuff that I make. I don't make very many things. I bet Angie or Angela, gross. Sorry, I'm slurping all the ices on top. My garden and herbs, yes. Unboxings, more variety of unboxings, vlogs. I will try. I just haven't had the capacity to do those really cool vlog challenges I see my friends doing. I just haven't had the capacity. But I watched them. I haven't watched anything in the last 2 weeks. I'm so sorry. I've missed you guys. But I haven't watched anything. I have still 17 chapters of pharmacology to read, and I'm just like playing hooky right now. Oils. Spoiler alert. I have probably 70 oils from the Witch's Moon and all my other boxes, and I only like 5 of them. So I'm not gonna make any oils, but I probably will do another oil giveaway at some point in the future. How I use everything, I'm gonna address that. Chats and lives, I'm doing that now. I want to do it more often. How I store my stuff is a valid question because I do change out my seasonal stuff, and I can show how I pack things up. I know it is a weird law. They're very particular about roadkill in Oregon. Um, how I store my stuff, bones, herbs, and the moon. Yes, I live my life by the moon. I could elaborate on that. What I do with my stuff, yes. Witchy, overall value. So, yes and no. There's definitely an overall dollar amount that I spend and that these websites purport that it's worth. But also, I do believe that some of the value is ephemeral and depends on who you are. Like, what are you getting out of it? So, not just what you're physically getting. The sum are greater than the parts. I know my hand is doing better. I have a permanent, I don't know if you can see it, but I have a permanent discoloration here. I don't think you can with the fish tank light. Nope. Yeah, right here. This whole thing is a permanent discoloration because it's dead there. But it doesn't hurt so bad anymore if I'm careful. It sometimes hurts at night and I just wrap it and go back to sleep. Catastrophic, you are allowed to put it out of its misery here in Oregon, but you have to give the head to the authorities. You can take the meat, but you have to turn in the head. You cannot keep the head of the deer. Weird. So, personal videos. So, yeah, this is pretty personal. Tracks. Oh, teaches spells and witchy things. So, I can teach bare bones things, I think, in the future. My personal practice, again, is kind of hard to share. But what I will say is that my personal philosophy, hi Dee! My personal philosophy is something that I'm willing to share, and something that I wanted to share was um, like sharing an article about witchy philosophy or ethics, which I don't think anybody talks about enough, and having something like this where we could interact with each other. Let's see, herbs, unboxing and lives, how I use the items, witchy self-care. That's a great one because I do, yay. I got it several years ago at like Michael's or Joann's or something for like a couple bucks. And they've been my BOSs for the last several years. Yeah. Um, so I will talk about witchy self-care because I'm an empath. And as you can see, when I don't do my ritual cleansing of my aura, my spirit, the world goes to shit and I can't function. So let's not do that again. And I will show you my tricks, which involve smoke, candles, smudging, bathing. We can't really call it smudging unless you're a First Nations person. So smoke, um, protective stones, protective amulets, protective whatever it is that you protect yourself with. Those are all really important witchy self-care things. Everyday witchcraft. I think probably the most common thing is just lighting things with intention. Oh yes, cleansing. Yes, cleansing. Um, Lighting everything with intention. Crystals. Yes. Boxes with friends. Yes, that's definitely an idea. Tinctures, spell work, my practice and path, and my spell work and my treasure trove. So those are all the. You need help, Misty, with spiritual cleansing because it's hard to start. I was an empath and I spent a lot of years crying and being miserable until I learned to properly take care of my person and not let psychic vampires latch onto me and suck out my mana. So definitely something that I'm gonna try to do in the in the future. Um, it is really important, and I've fallen out of it. And so, oh yeah, some people are really sensitive about appropriation. I personally am. I call things what I call them, because I it's complicated. My beliefs on that are complicated. But some people don't believe that you should say that because it's appropriation of First Nations people's um, stuff. So, I mean, it's complicated. I don't know. I once saw somebody attack another person um, because they said spirit animal and they thought that was offensive. Um, So yeah. So there's good and there's bad in any community, and in this day and age, we're all moving towards being more inclusive. Um, or we're trying to move towards being more inclusive, um, and not being so unintentionally offensive. And in those things, I feel like sometimes we go overboard. I feel like if you're not profiting from saying smudging, or I'm not selling smudges to you guys, I'm not preaching it for profit, I'm not benefited in any way, and I'm 13% Native American, but I'm not part of a First Nation tribe. I am Hispanic, and it just so happens that we're Tainos were are Native Americans. So some people think that's offensive, so that they recommend saying smoke. I will say that smoking, using smoke ritually is practiced in probably every continent by thousands and thousands of different types of people. So it's not a concept owned by any one person, but I can definitely see how it might be offensive um, for some people. But I haven't met any people like that in real life. It's just something I've seen in the community that I try to avoid. Um, and I live in the Pacific Northwest, and there are a lot of tribes here. And I'm a camp nurse in the summer for Native American youth. Um, some of my favorite spiritual pieces of jewelry have been handmade for me by Native Americans as their medicine women, and it's really, um, in my opinion, a very, very high honor, very important thing for me. And it's really beautiful to watch. And I've never had any pushback about my personal spiritual beliefs and how it comes up against their culture. But some people either take things too far, or, I mean, it's odd. I mean, an individual person like me or you on the internet, I'm nobody, I don't have any sponsors, and I'm not making any money off of this, shouldn't have that problem. Um, yeah, and I think it depends on different. I think it depends on different tribes too, because having a spirit animal is not exclusive to Native Americans. A lot of cultures had animals that connected spiritually with people. But I think like when Sephora sells sage smudging kits, it's probably offensive for a company with a head like of a European CEO white man to benefit off of Native American culture in that way is not okay. But I feel like for small scale people, it's whatever you do. You should definitely not present it as your own idea. You should definitely give credit where credit is due. Ritual cleansing by smoke is actually what you should say. That is what it is by definition. But smudging is a different thing because they don't use their ritual cleansing is a different type of cleansing. You can say ritual cleansing by smoke. That's a thing that lots of cultures do. But smudging is a Native American term specifically. I'm not going to judge you. I'm just saying I've seen other people judged. So I'm trying to be careful about what I say. And it also depends because D, you're from, I believe, the South, right? And definitely way different. So if I'm not mistaken, you have what, Dene, Choctaw in that area, and in my area, completely different. So like, I don't know. Exactly, Alder Moon. I kind of feel that way too. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, a lot of them do prefer. Actually, the term that they prefer out here is First Nation people. Um, but there we go. I'm gonna go to the powwow in April, and I'm gonna ask some questions because I got to get me some sweetgrass and some other stuff. And they sell it. They sell it here. They sell it to us at the at the powwow, so I will ask them what they prefer it's called. But I think in the broader sense, without profit, but just one-on-one spirituality, that our ancestors and our spirits are ancient. And so at one point you were probably Native American, you were probably Celtic, you were probably African, you were probably whatever. At some point, I believe in reincarnation and that your spirit has been many different things and will be many different things. And so if you come on a spiritual practice that isn't the culture that you're born from, but it resonates deeply with your soul, then fucking do it. Because that is your soul speaking to you, and that's how you connect with divine. Should you make money off of it? Should you act like you own it? Should you do any of that? No. But still do it. You have the right to connect with the divine however you connect with the divine. My empath story. Was I saying something about empath? Remind me, Angela. I am an empath. I mean, I feel like a lot of us are. Aren't you guys? I mean, if you feel like you're an empath, put a thumbs up or something on there. I forgot what I was talking about, Angela. I ramble so much. Oh, thank you, Aldermoon. I occasionally say things that make sense. Okay, so Misty's an empath with me. I guess what I was saying, so maybe you guys don't know this, but I grew up with some shit that was suffering, a lot of suffering. In the Latino cultures, we beat our children. I don't beat my child, but I was raised with that totally being the thing. And that shit crushed my spirit. Um, you know, there was a lot of abuse. There was a lot of physical discipline that was challenging. My dad was in prison, so I didn't have a dad. My mom was a single mom trying to raise us on her own. There was a lot of suffering, and so there was a lot of crying, and it was hard for me to separate what feelings are mine and what feelings are the suffering of like my mom or my siblings or even friends. At that point, I feel like as an empath, sometimes it is hard to separate like what is actually yours, your bullshit, and what is bullshit that you're absorbing from other people. And so I didn't know anything about that. When I left home, oh, it's okay, Kathy, it's all over. And it's nothing that millions and millions of people don't grow up with anyway. It's just I'm trying to say, like, so when I went to the military, I was security forces, which is the police force and the Air Force, and still a lot of suffering. And not just that, you live in dorms, and there's a lot of residual, nasty vibe energy. There's a lot of hauntings. I was haunted there by several different terrible things. There was a lot of stuff that happened that was soul crushing. There's a lot of things that you have to do as a police officer that are spirit crushing. There was a lot of bad people, bad intentions, bad situations, everything that just latched onto me, and I was drowning in myself. And then, I was a baby witch. I've been a witch. I've identified as a witch. I feel like I've been a witch my whole life and before, because I've dreamt of previous lives where I was put on a guillotine for being a witch. Whether I was or not, I don't know, but I'll kill for it. At least once in the past. But I grew up, and at 14, I didn't have access to materials, so I was just learning mythology. I was learning what scraps I could learn from the newspaper astrology, just like stories, all this other stuff. And then when I finally got into my own place at 18, I was a baby witch, and I would go to my local witchcraft store. What was it? Abatha's Herbery in Nob Hill in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I would get all this information. I would get all this stuff, and I would try all these things, almost always about love, which was just irritating. Okay, that's awesome to know, Sunday's Child of Light. And Alder Moon. Long story short, I learned, and it took me many years, and it took a lot. I don't even know. I can't even identify a turning point. But I had to decide, like, okay, I know myself well enough to know that when bad things happen, I sometimes go into a full nosedive of despair. And it doesn't have to be just a bad thing happening to me. It can be a bad thing happening to a kid on the news. It can be a bad thing happening to a friend. I can feel what they're feeling, and it drives me full on into despair. And I had to be like, okay, I have to not do this. I have to keep living, and I can't go off on a despair trip for however long it takes me to get out of it. So I, first of all, cleansing, and I have several methods. One of the visualizations that I particularly like, let me just say, for grounding is I will stand up as straight as I can in mountain pose and just feeling my breathing. And I will imagine that my spine extends like a tail all the way into the soil. And that as I breathe in, I'm breathing in the healing of Mother Earth. And as I breathe out, all that dark, black despair sinks out of me. And that's one of the ways that I cleanse. I visualize with my breath good coming in and despair sinking out, or just negative energy, or just whatever serves me. It's gone. It's sinking out of I can literally feel it down my spine right now. It's sinking out of me, down my spine into the soil, and my mother will take care of it. That's one way that I do that. I feel better already. Whew, I feel great. Another one is like if there's a windstorm, the wind will blow it off of you too. So I visualize black negative feelings just being blown off of me. Water is my favorite. And, if I'm in the shower, because sometimes the shower is what I have for every day. And then I just I visualize if I'm wetting my hair that day. If I'm not, because, I only wash my hair once a week, and let it go down my neck. And it's just it goes down the drain. As I wash my body, I wash all that negative energy, and it goes down the drain, and it's gone. I don't have to carry it with me. That was the thing. You give yourself permission. There is a lot of suffering in this world, and we have to do the best that we can. But you don't own all the suffering in the world, and it's not your job. You can only do what you can do. Don't let the world's despair drown you. You got to let some of it go. It's not all yours. And once I gave myself that permission to let that go, it's gone. I don't have to do that. And then I'm actually more helpful and more useful because I'm not drowning in despair. Oh yeah, over the moon. Definitely. Yeah, that's true. I guess another thing is ritual bathing. I especially like to soak in a salty herby bath, and I like to think about everything, and I like to scrub my skin really good. And then I let it all drain, and I rinse the bathtub, and it's gone. Those are things that I physically do to cleanse. You can also do smoke. I like sage and to wash away negative energy. And then I come back over with Palo Santo to bless myself, to bless my spirit, to bless my intentions, to bless my day. Um, I don't per se use fire to cleanse, although you can. I mean, in the past, when things are particularly bad, you can write all the bad things down on a paper and burn that shit. Yes. And you have to let some things pass like water off a duck's back. You have to be focused, you have to be present, you have to try hard. I do believe those things, especially in my job. I'm a nurse, and I have to sometimes, part of my job is sitting with people with heavy, terrible, indescribably painful shit. And sometimes your job is to hold that space with them and not make it better, because sometimes there ain't nothing going to make that better, but just hold their space with them. And then once you're done, you got to let that go. So, Misty, I don't know. So, that's my way of cleansing and grounding. One of the ways that I have a barrier is that I just mentally sometimes just say, I'm not going to think about that right now. I literally sometimes have to say that out loud. And sometimes if my negative thoughts get too bad, I have to just straight up say no, no, no. No matter how crazy, stupid, or whatever I look, nope. Just a firm, hard no. We're not doing this. I'm not going to think about that. It's not going to happen. I have to remind myself that I don't want to do that. There's other things like you can have a worry stone that you could rub so that you can, again, focus yourself, remind yourself, ground yourself that you're not going to hold on to that. You're not going to take that. You are not going to let that latch onto you. A bracelet, a worry stone, a piece of jewelry. Maybe you have a bracelet that you feel protects you. I want to say a lot of it is a mind game, but really all of magic is a mind game. You are mastering with your intent the universe. You are manifesting with your intent, and that takes your mind and your discipline. And so you have to learn whatever trick or method is going to work with you for you to say, like, okay, that's not helpful for me. It's not helpful for the person. There's nothing I can do. Or if there is something you can do, be like, I'm going to do this thing, but then I'm going to let it go. There's a lot more to it than that. And what I do is not for everybody, but those are the main things that I do. Exactly. And in a room full of negative people, if you can get out of the room with negative people, obviously would be the best choice. If you can't, yes, obsidian, black tourmaline, onyx, hematite. Um, those are really nice stones. You can get them very, very cheap. Even if you get them from the Wish app, just get them. You can always do the grounding thing. It doesn't matter. You don't have to have your soil on the ground. You can imagine that you're rooting like a tree into the ground. Sundays Starlight. Yep, I have a lot of. You have to also find things like she's saying, like that will make you happy, that will make you laugh, that will remind you of good things. Laughter really does cure a lot of bad things. Medically, spiritually, there's proven that laughter. Yeah, Angela. I mean, there's a lot more to it. I would not give specifics. Some of them are too painful even to deal with, and I'm in a fragile state because I'm coming off of a. I let myself get into a bad funk, and I don't usually, but I don't want to think of those things too much because they're hard to deal with when you're vulnerable. And sometimes, Misty, if you're vulnerable, get away from those people. There is nothing wrong with protecting yourself and being like, I cannot be around you. You're too much. And it's not that you don't love them or care about them or whatever, but sometimes if people are going to suck you dry and you can't take it, you need to take care of yourself and get the fuck away from those people. I'm not super familiar with light working. I'm super familiar with healing, which I think is probably very close. But it's not something I've researched or gone into, or I think a lot of things we call different names. I don't know exactly about light working. But suffice it to say, for the most part, even as an empathetic person in a really challenging field for an empath, but also a field that we're called to as empaths, I manage with mental tricks. And you know what, Misty? When I was really stressed out, sometimes having a cry shower or a cry nap did wonders. It is scientifically proven that you literally release when you cry tears, psychic tears, you release enzymes in your tears that help your neurotransmitters regulate. So if you want to cry, cry. It's good for you. It's cathartic. Let it out. Don't hold it in. Cry. I mean, obviously, don't cry in front of strangers. They're going to make you feel like shit. But like I said, a cry nap or a cry shower works wonders. You go in the shower, and you cry and you cry and you cry, and you let it all wash away. It's gone. You're done thinking about it. That's true, Lori. Let it out. What I used to love to do is called a cry nap. Okay? Everybody needs a good cry nap every once in a while, where you go to your bed, you get real comfortable, you get naked or in your jams or with your favorite socks or your favorite stuffy. You get comfortable in your bed and you cry and you cry and you cry and you wail and you cry and you let that shit out until you're exhausted and you take a nap. And when you wake up, you're done. You're done. Don't go back. When you wake up, it's over. Don't hate it. Don't hate it. It's good for you. It's yes. I read a scientific article. I can't remember what journal it was, but it was they literally studied tears that people made for different reasons. Tears of grief have a different chemical makeup than tears from laughter, which has all the different chemical makeup than tears from allergies. Literally, there's different enzymes in your tears that help you relieve that psychic stress. So definitely cry. Cry, 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 cry. If you like listening to sad music, listen to sad music. If you want to read a book, read a book. If you want to masturbate, masturbate. Whatever you need to do to get whatever excess energy, emotion out of your system, get it out, empty your vessel, rest yourself, and then tell yourself that you're just not going to do it. And the first whole bunch of times, it's going to be hard and you're going to have to cry and empty your vessel a lot. But otherwise, just practice saying no. Not just to other people, but you have to say no to yourself. Because sometimes other people can be not doing anything to us, but we're just like eating ourselves up alive. You're just sitting there like, you remember that fucking mistake you made in 1992? Remember that stupid thing you said before? Remember that terrible thing that you did that you can't take back? That's what we do to ourselves. We sit there and we're like, you know what we haven't thought about in a while? Every fucking thing we've done wrong in our whole goddamn lives. Let's sit here and hate ourselves. So sometimes you have to be like, no, brain, you're wrong. You're drunk. Stop it. None of that. We're not doing that. No, no, no. Stop. And that's hard. The hardest person to stop from hurting you is yourself. Cry shower for sure, Tad Strawberry. Yeah, I mean, I do that, but I don't call it light working. I just think of like, yes, I do light visualizations, meditation. I like meditation, mindfulness, breathing, exercises, guided meditations on YouTube, yoga, stretching, bathing, laying in bed with a dark stone in one hand and a light stone in the other, and you're letting in light and you're putting all the negative in the dark stone, and then you cleanse that stone. No worries, guys. This is going on. But I hope that, I mean, I'm not an expert. I'm just saying I'm a really sensitive person, and I'm a nurse, and I've been a cop, and this is just what I've gathered so that I can keep myself together, upright, and useful to other people. And I'm going to tell you that the hardest person is going to be yourself. We like to eat ourselves up. We are so mean to ourselves. We have this constant stream of negative self-talk, and we guilt each other and we shame each other and we feel terrible, and it's just like, oh, you have to stop yourself. You have to stop yourself. And it's hard. It's really hard. I don't know what else to talk about. So unless somebody has a question, I will wrap it up. I'm happy so many people got to join me tonight. If you're at work and can't leave and have that feeling come over you, Yes, Kathy. One thing. Oh, Misty, I'm glad. Kathy, when you're at work, that is hard. But that also is where visualization comes through. Um, it's also where visualization comes through. And yeah, at night, your brain just gets all into crazy things. And, when you're a kid, it's like, oh, you know what I haven't thought of in a long time? Monsters. Let's think about that. But then when you're an adult, I mean, sometimes I think about monsters. Ooh, look at this pimple on my nose. Sometimes I think about monsters, but mostly I just think about every terrible thing I've ever done, which is way worse. I'd rather fight Pennywise than. Oh, Pennywise is a bitch. I don't know. That creepy girl from The Grudge. I'd rather fight her than have to think about my mistakes. Oh, the winners, Angie. Molasses Murphy and Jen Picarillo for K Beauty, and Just Cards by Sarah and Maria S. for Witchy. Yes, weighted blanket. One of my favorite things is just like it's a mantra, and it's one of the easiest things. You can get into your visualization. I personally like to root myself in the ground and feel myself connected. I like to inhale confidence, and I exhale doubt. And I inhale confidence, and I just feel it like blooming. I'm inhaling that confidence, and I'm exhaling that doubt. And the darkness leaves. You can inhale peace. You can exhale despair. You can inhale hope. Hope is more pink and warm. You can exhale anger. Whatever. It's all about just a mental exercise. Hi, Alicia. I know, Lori, for sure. And that's definitely where self-love actually comes in. So we get all this stuff like self-care, and it is self-care. You should care for your skin bag. It's really important. And your hairs. You should care for things that are going to make you feel better about yourself, right? But don't forget to do that work about your messy inside. You got to care for all of those inside workings too, right? Because if you keep your car pretty and clean and the carpet all smooth, clean, not like my car's rolling dumpster, but if you keep your car cherry and you don't ever change fucking oil, it's still going to break down. So make sure you do your self-care on your inside gut parts too, okay? Your waters, your good nutrition, your sleeping, your healthy mental thoughts, your self-forgiveness, positive self-talk, because you're awesome. And if you're not awesome, pretend you're awesome and just work until you're awesome. But don't tell yourself you're not awesome. It's not helpful. A broke down car. I know. Don't let yourself be. Change your oil. Take care of it. Fill your gas tank. Oh, cool. I mean, Missy, when it comes down to it, find what's going to work for you. Because it doesn't, there are certain times in your life, number one, when you're more vulnerable, like when you're menstruating, when you're having grief, when you're having a hard time, when you're super stressed, if you've just had a baby. There's lots of times when you're really vulnerable. So when I was really vulnerable after my son was born, God, what was it? That 2-year-old boy who was with his family at Disneyland, he got killed by a crocodile or alligator. Well, his dad tried to save him. That shit had me despairing in bed for days. Just like absolutely emotionally fucking devastated. I could not function. And eventually I had to be like, you have to stop. He's gone. And his suffering is over. And your suffering isn't making it better. So you have to stop. And it's just like, the only thing that gets you out of it is talking to yourself like, hey, we don't have to do this here. It's okay. You've cried. It's okay. It's over now. Stop. You can stop now. And sometimes that's the kind of conversation that I have to have in my head. Yeah. Yes. Definitely finding laughter. Music. I love music. I like sometimes angry music, and you're like, yeah, I'm mad. And you just let it out. Or you're like, yeah, I'm sad. And you cry. Feel those feelings. We are told from an early age to fucking stuff that shit down. And do you know what that does? It eats us up inside. It makes us low functioning human beings, and it does nothing for any fucking body. It's just because the generations before us got this great idea that being a civilized person was not actually having any emotions. But fuck that. You're a human being. You have been gifted with this whole spectrum of emotions, love, joy, grief. They're all important. Don't stuff any of it down. feel them, sit with them, acknowledge them. Don't beat yourself up about it, and then let that shit go. You know, it's hard raising a little kid, a boy, because people like my father in law, who's in his 70s, I love him, don't get me wrong. He tried to tell my son to man up. My 5-year-old child was crying because he fell off of something. He's like, man up. I was like, what? He's going to go pay some motherfucking bills? What are you talking about? He's a little boy. He fell off the thing. Let him cry. And thankfully, I'm a scary Puerto Rican lady, and that was the last time my father in law said something like that. Although he is a determined old white man, and so he keeps going. Random things, but never about that again. And my husband's with it. It's just like, okay, you're sad. Let's cry, but let's also, like, we got to keep trying. I know, right? What are you saying? That's so stupid. I hate when people say man up. What does that even mean? He's got the rest of his life to adult, and adulting sucks balls. So let him be a kid and cry and do whatever as much as he can. I let my dogs come anywhere they want, Alicia. I think if your dogs are not going to destroy your stuff, let them in. Cats, I wouldn't trust. Cats love to put their butts all over everything. She'd probably sit on your altar, knock your stuff off. I can hear my husband and son. It's been nice conversing with you guys. It's been a week, but I'm happy. I mean, I don't do everything right, don't get me wrong. But I think that those crazy people that have all these dogma rules are wrong. I don't think that spirit has rules, except for, like, don't kill people unless they really, really deserve it, but that's another story. Don't hurt babies or animals, unless, of course, you really, really have to. Babies, you probably don't ever have to. Animals, sometimes you do. But this has been a really long live, and unless there's more conversation, I'm just dwindling down to nothing. What do you guys think of this paper? It's really cute. Oh, thank you. I feel like, so definitely my channel is not for children because I curse a lot, but that's really like me. It would be disingenuous for me to talk a different way because I feel like, number one, it is what it is, and dressing it up in a different manner um, doesn't change the message, and it kind of dilutes the message. But I do curse a lot. I do curse a lot. I don't curse, but I do curse a lot. I curse a lot, D. Now that I think about it, I do say you a lot. Or or this motherfucker didn't. But I feel like that's a healthy emotion. I don't feel like that thing where it's just like, oh, don't hate anybody, don't be mean. Sometimes you're angry and feeling that is okay. Exactly. You don't have to. I don't know if we're all women here. And I don't think we are all women here, but especially women. We're told to like, oh, be nice, get along, blah, blah, blah. No, fuck that. Say what you feel. That's why so many women are unhappy because we keep that shit in our hearts instead of saying what we feel. Exactly, Dee. Thank you, Angie. I am a real person. I'm not trying to alienate anybody, but I feel like sometimes we go on to spiritual channels and they're saying everything so woo woo, and I like woo woo. Don't get me wrong. I get a lot of witchy boxes and I watch a lot of content. I like woo woo, but at the same time, I'm probably the only Puerto Rican witch most of you know, and I'm gonna represent an honest, authentic, roots of the earth or salt of the earth is actually the saying person, and that's what's up. Oh, thank you, Kathy. I love bless your heart, but I don't say it. It's not usually mean or it's not usually nice. Exactly. I use a lot of colloquialisms because sometimes when you're in the clinic and you really want to say, fuck this asshole, all you can say is, oh, bless his heart. Bless your heart. Mm. So, I know. I think you should say what you feel. I think that's also part of empath work. It's part of empath work is to not eat those emotions either, because that's part of the thing that eats us up. If we're also absorbing everybody else's emotions and we're drowning in our own bullshit, then you're just drowning. You're getting it from all sides. So feel, ground, release. It is nice to talk with another witch. That's what I love about this. And there's some amazing witches on here too. I don't know if all of you make content, but I can say Dee, Dawn. I don't know if Yvette came today. Um, um, Lots of good channels around here that are just honest, straightforward people that are not going to give you any of that bullshit. They're just going to be real people. Yeah, I know. I know. Look at that, guys. I got a friend. I'm sorry. This is probably so bizarre. I do love content. Um, I guess one last thing before I go is I'm really excited to get to 1,000. But something I was thinking about doing, and I wanted to kind of bounce off of people because even if people watch the replay, they're probably not going to watch an hour and a half of me fucking rambling. um, is that, with all of my excess content or not product stuff, I was thinking of having like a kind of a pagan yard sale, um, where people that I know and trusted can maybe join a group and like buy the things that I didn't want for super cheap. But I didn't know if that was ethically responsible. Um, what are your thoughts? Is that ethical for me to get a subscription box and then things that I don't necessarily connect with out of it to resale? Because like I have a ton of shit for Hecate, but I'm not gonna put a Hecate altar up. I like her, she's great, but she's just not my thing. Or Bridget, or Belenos, or Odin, or I mean, I'm not into Celtic deities. Um, I mean, obviously, it wouldn't be for like super expensive. Definitely, Angela. It's just a thought that I've been thinking of because I want to keep getting boxes because I really like the surprise thing. But I also am kind of bummed that I have 70 ritual oils and I only like 5 of them. So I was thinking maybe I could make a private Facebook group and just put the pictures of the things that I don't like up there, and then only my friends who I don't know, G. Some people get their panties in a bunch about shit. And um I just don't want to offend anybody. Obviously, I wouldn't do it with things that have been gifted to me. Like if somebody gave me something, I wouldn't do that. I guess why I'm asking if it's ethical, is it ethical for me to get something from a subscription box and then sell it to somebody else because I don't like it? Exactly. I guess so. So once I get to 1,000, I think I'm going to do that. Set up a private community type page where just like I open it up with maybe some pictures of the things that I don't like and a little description, like maybe the description it came with, and just say like, okay, ritual oil from this box, this is the blurb, this is what it has in it. It kind of smells like apple spice, and you could buy it for $3 plus $2 shipping or something. I know. I just worry. I feel like people are so PC these days. I just want to go down in flames because I said the wrong thing. Okay, I think I will. I will let you guys know how it goes because I don't know if I can show you, but let's see if I can move this without hurting anything. Don't judge me for my messy room. But I've been kind of like cleaning up and like, so these are all my extra decks. And then those are just extra ritual tools, extra books, journals, teas, oils, incenses. Look at all these jars. I've got a problem. But I think that I will try to. Well, you guys want to see my turtle? Homie. Homie Holmes. Come here, homie. He's big. Oh, good. I'm glad to know what everybody thinks. I've been thinking about it a lot, but then I've been worried. But you know, that's one of the things. Like, let it out. Don't just sit here and beat yourself up about it. What's a PC blocker oil? Oh yeah, I get it. God, I'm so slow. Okay, good idea, guys. Sorry, I was just catching up on all the readings. He is cute. His name is Homie. I'm going to show you guys more stuff, but I can hear my son whiling out and I can hear my husband getting mad. So I better go intervene before somebody gets a good old fashioned ass whooping before bed. And that's what I think I'm going to do, Alicia. A private ongoing Facebook group. I'm just kidding. We don't beat my son. We don't. I literally had to spank him because he ran out in the street and then we both cried because I was devastated that I had to hit him. But I will say, in my mother's defense, my son was one time wilding out so bad that I almost said it. If you don't stop that crying, I'm going to give you something to cry about. I didn't say it because that was my least favorite thing that my mom said because she always said it when she was fucking hitting me. But I've never done it. I stopped myself, and that's a victory, guys. That is breaking the curse in action. But anyways, I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here. 2 new unboxings tomorrow. For those people who won, contact me. We're going to work up your beautiful prize boxes that I will try to get out sometime very soon. Otherwise, thank you guys for your support, and I love you. Good night, guys. Happy full moon. Good night. Love you guys. Bye.